Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome back to another episode. Oh man. To another live stream. Well, to the last live stream of today. This is live stream numero 3. So again, I don't know when you guys are watching this because you could be watching this live, like you might be right now or not. You might be watching this in the future at some point. And so that's why sometimes the starting of these videos are a little weird because they're live streams. And anyways, shout out to everyone out there. Welcome to the last live stream of the day or the first live stream of the day. I don't know, depending on how and when you showed up here. So I apologize for being a little late today, not just in the previous live streams, but on this one as well. It's just a bit of a hectic day today. And as you guys know, it's about to start raining. Pouring rain out here soon. That's why it's so extra dark, even though I have lights everywhere. I don't know if that makes any sense, so I apologize for that. The storms are brewing, all right? And I think that's a pretty good analogy, or pretty good kind of like jumping off point to today's topic, right? To what we're going to be talking about today and all that good stuff, which is, why are so many Americans, so many people around the world so afraid of Mexico? Now, we're going to talk about, many factors. We're going to talk about the obvious, what is it, propaganda, or, just, what is it, the news, what you always hear about Mexico. Hey, Mexico's dangerous. Mexico has cartels. Mexico's dangerous. It has cartels. The same old, you know what I mean?
Bruh.
As if, some of these horrible things didn't exist elsewhere, right? But anyways, I digress. At the end of the day, it's the same old. In fact, you guys can share in the audience some of these things that you've heard about Mexico that make it so dangerous. It's a third world shithole, whatever, all these things that you're always going to hear about, Mexico. But the reality is that as time goes on, as the years progress, and we're now in 2023 and, moving on to 2024 and beyond, now we have access to channels like mine or other channels on YouTube or other mediums out there in which they really show Mexico for what it is. And when you're looking at Mexico right now, even with its problems, with the cartel, drug war, and whatever else is going on, all the stuff that they talk about here. And you look at, Paris, the United States, you look at Canada, you look at it like China right now, Russia, Ukraine, pick your poison, South Africa, no matter where you look at right now, it's basically, it feels like it's going up in flames, like it's, literally they're setting the whole thing on fire. So, people are now starting to question and really starting to rethink the idea, is Mexico actually that dangerous? And even if it is dangerous, it can't be any more dangerous than what I'm living through right now. And again, this doesn't just go for Mexico. It goes for so many countries out there where people are now starting to rethink and, have a better understanding of what it is to live in other parts of the world and to live, in freedom and all that other stuff. And, there's many countries around the world. Each region, each country has its own negatives and positives. But we're talking about Mexico right now, as to why everyone's so afraid of Mexico. Why is Mexico so scary? Why is it so bad? And I really do think, a lot of it comes from the culture from which the people that are looking into moving to Mexico are looking at Mexico from, the prism that they're looking at Mexico through. I don't know if that makes any sense. So for example, when they live in a totalitarian government, people that come from the USA, from Canada, whatever, and they're living already like in a very tyrannical, totalitarian type government. And then they look at Mexico, they're like, oh my God, if things are bad and horrible here in the USA or Canada, which is like the best place on earth, I can't even imagine going to another country, especially Mexico. Oh my God, how bad or terrible are they there? Especially after everything I hear, which is all bad and negative. So they have that misconception. Another misconception is the fact that you got to remember, if you in the audience are moving to Mexico, well, now you are the immigrant. You're the illegal alien, the foreigner, whatever. So guess what? You got to start thinking about how the USA, how people, how others, treat immigrants, and how they really do treat a certain class of people where you're from. So a lot of people think about these things. They know what's going on. I don't want to put thoughts in your own head. I'm sure you can figure out what I'm saying with all this. But, people start to realize how they treat immigrants in their own country. And they're like, oh, if I go to Mexico, they're probably not going to treat me very well. Simply because of how we treat them. You know what I mean? Things like that. And, I think that honestly, it's more fear of, again, the things that I talk about on the channel all the time, where people have fear to actually live their life, survive, life without a government or some sort of entity, kind of like telling them what to do, when they can do it, how they can do it, and all this other stuff. This is why we have now seen, after this whole situation, with the virus or whatever, how people have been, all of a sudden looking at a place like Mexico and looking at the freedom that comes with the anarchy and, the freedom that comes from very little government oversight, if any at all. And people are like, oh, yeah, let's just go over there. This sounds like a lot better, than, dealing with, the Canadian government, for example. So, things like that. All right, let me look through the comment section, see what you guys have to say here. I hope you guys hear the storm in the background, hear the thunder. Yeah, always a cartel. And again, if people really want to know the cartels, or what have you, people are always afraid of the cartels. The cartels are like mafia. They're just gangsters. They're just businessmen, business people. That's really it. Look, there's wars going on, territorial wars going on. Hey, I don't want to get into all that. But again, it's the same old thing that happens in the U.S. currently and in other places. Anyways, I digress. The point I'm making is that, really, these individuals that are so scary, out there fighting these drug wars, really what they're more interested in is just becoming outstanding citizens in their own country. And, when they launder that money, what they really do is that, they build, things like hospitals, things like malls, things like housing developments, all these things the governments build or corporations build in order to, make the lives better of the community, but at the same time making money. So it's then all of a sudden it's like they, along with the government, are fighting over influence, and who is doing a better job at the influence. You already know who, because one group, the cartels, whatever, they get that money straight and they just fucking put it into the system straight, while the government, they got to grease all these wheels, and they got to do all this corruption, before that money gets to the people. So anyways, yeah, long story short, when you even look at it just like that, hey, wait a minute, the cartel are really just business people and the government is just government. You're like, oh, wait a minute. We're back to the same old square one, and again, there's nothing to be scared of, because again, now you see why they have no interest in hurting the population or hurting the civilians. You guys are customers. You guys are clients. Why the hell are they going to bother, you or the people? No, they need you. You guys keep the system going. Either you're making the stuff or you're buying the stuff, or both, preferably, right? So, and so then one system wants rules and regulation. The other system is more free capitalism, Anyways, but they're both fighting for influence. So it's like, really, what are you scared of? Scared of what? One of them, they're both fighting for, what is it, for influence? And how do they fight for influence? Of the Mexican people's influence, but again, they each have to provide better and better. How are the people going to support the cartel or the government? They're both fighting for influence, so the people have to. So they have to fight for the people's vote. So how do they do that? By providing better things or infrastructure or systems or whatever. And that's really what, so afraid of what? What is there to be afraid of? When it comes to all that. And again, unless you're actually involved with all that, that's a moot point. It's not even, scared of what? But I think really when it comes down to it, I think that why are so many people afraid of Mexico is because, they're just afraid. You know what I mean? It's just simply put. You know what I mean? And so, they look at something like the Mexico. You know what I mean? Something like Mexico. Forget Mexico. Just look at any country out there. You know what I mean? And they look at that like scary because it's not, within my soft, four walls, of my bubble where I live. You know what I mean? That whole idea. So I think a lot of the fear, comes from, having to deal with the difficulty, okay, of assimilating into a brand new culture. And the fact that now they are on the other end of the stick when it comes to immigration, and now they are the immigrants, and then they're afraid as to how they are going to get treated. That's why you see all this fake news, when they're talking about like, the immigration laws. Careful, they're going to be arresting and deporting Americans. You better have your paperwork. It's like, oh, it's just like, at this point, it's just laughable. Because the more people know about Mexico, they realize it's the complete opposite of that. You feel me? And again, these are the things that they're afraid of. They're afraid of the fact that, first of all, that what if all these things are true? What if Mexico is exactly as tyrannical as the USA? Oh my God, I guess the life of an immigrant in my own country is really difficult and I got to put up with that. So then they got to deal with that. So it's scary. Or even more scary, the fact that it's actually easy. And the fact that things are actually, kind of like anarchy out here. And the fact that, things don't really function the way they function back home. If they function at all. And people just are like, they can't get used to that. What? Like, for example, let's say that my water heater breaks and it's raining and now I got to take a cold shower. Oh, shit. You hear that? Oh, man. Oh, wow. That lightning was like right there. Whoa, did I catch it on camera? Holy shit. I'm looking at the replay. I want to see if I caught it. This is crazy. And it's raining, and now I got to take a cold shower. Oh, shit, I didn't catch it. That's crazy. Oh, shit. You hear that? Oh. Nature, baby. Nature. Man, that lightning struck like it could not have been like a half a mile maybe. And we got a lightning storm coming. Anyways. Oh, we got Gizmo. Gizmo's scared. Oh, no. You all right, brother? Oh, no. You all right, buddy? Yeah, that was a big one. Hold on a second, guys. I'll leave you with Lambo for a second. Gizmo, get it in. Alright, you okay, Gizmo? Oh no. One second, guys. Hold on. Poor Gizmo got really scared. Oh no. Sorry, give me 1 second. It's starting to rain. You alright, buddy? Oh, poor guy. Oh no. Hold on. Let me I gotta put some music on for a second. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't mean to. I gotta take care of the dog. Family first. Hold on a second. I'm just gonna put a little intermission music here. 1 second. see me like this? Hold on a second. Anyways, sorry about that. So sorry. I apologize. I'm gonna have just a little partial light, you know, before Gizmo was all scared. Man, that thunder was strong. I mean, yeah, it did come out on the camera. Anyways, but we're fine. We're fine. We're alive here. Everything's okay, guys. I just sorry about that. I don't know. Where was I? I forgot what I was talking about. I apologize, guys. But maybe someone can in the chat let me know and put me back on track. I'm reading the comments right now. I mean, you know, here in Mexico, there's tons of fireworks that are always, you know, being lit and thrown and all this other stuff. So the reality is that, you know, it's not like an uncommon thing, you know, for the furry friends to get scared, you know, of things. But that was a really big lightning crack. Like I said, you know, it scared me, and I saw it. I literally saw the thing go clack at that, you know, right in front of me. It was like, again, like I want to say like less than half a mile. Very close. Give me 1 second. Let me check on something outside. Okay, just one more second. I apologize, guys. Just want to make sure we're good here. Anyways, all right, guys. I thank you so much. I appreciate you guys so much out there. You know, out here in the middle of a thunderstorm. We got poor Gizmo over there. All right, he's doing a little better. Poor guy. That was crazy. All right, back on topic. Back to where we were talking about. Please, someone remind me in the chat, you know, what we were talking about, because I forgot. But, you know, just going back to like the weather, things like the weather. You know, out here, you know, most people are just more dealing, you know, they have to deal with everything, you know, a lot more head on, and they don't have like some government or some sort of you know, any kind of like safety net per se. They got to create their own safety net, and you know, it is what it is. So anyways, but you know, why are so many Americans, so many people around the world really afraid or scared of, you know, Mexico, living in Mexico? And I honestly, you know, I think it's just the fact that it's for the first time for a lot of people out there. They got to really deal with their humanity. You know what I mean? They got to really deal with the fact that, you know, they have to, you know, they might have to deal with the elements head on. They might have to, you know, go to the market and pick out vegetables and learn how to cook. And learn how to, you know, just do all these basic survival skills that basically everyone knew or were taught, you know, a generation ago. And all of a sudden now most people these days, you know, they feel accomplished because they did their laundry and they went to work today. And it's like, that's bare minimum of what you're supposed to do. What are you talking about? You know what I mean? And so I think the reality is that for many people, it's just the fact that they would have to deal with, like, how am I going to deal with the cold shower? Oh, yeah, that's right, the cold shower. And how would I deal with a cold shower? And the reality is like, for example, typical Mexican, you know, let's say right now, you know, I can't turn, you know, my water heater broke and I have no cold water. What do I have to do? You know, besides fix the water heater, all right? You know, I can't fix the water heater now, you know what I mean? And I got to take a shower. Now, I got two options. Take a cold shower, or if I really want a warm, hot shower, well, I'll do like what other Mexicans do that cannot afford a water heater, and they just heat up some water on the stove, and they use that to bathe with. But then again, you tell it to a typical American or, you know, typical person out there that has never, you know, survived, you know, and they're like, what? I got to do what? That is crazy. For example, during the virus situation, the pandemic or whatever, and people were fighting over toilet paper. People in Mexico were laughing at that. It's like, what do you mean they're fighting over toilet paper? How can you be fighting over toilet paper? Can you just hose yourself down? Like, what's the problem? Is this really a problem? People are really fighting over this? You know what I mean? It's just so many things like that. And so, like, I really think it's a combination of many things. And the fact that, out here, for many people that have never really had to deal with life or deal with any hardship or left the country, let alone their bubble, living in another country in which you might have hardships. Like, I don't know, if it rains sideways, I might have water coming in through my window. I mean, it's not a problem I want to have, but I'd rather have that than having a police officer busting through my window to arrest me for not having the proper sealant on that window. You know what I mean? So I'll deal with the water.
Bruh.
I'd rather have that. And it's just so many things like that. You know what I mean? Like, I can go on and on. I think that really what happens is that, the whole therapy, the whole whatchamacallit, psychology thing of what happens with people when they project. And so a lot of people, I think, why they're so afraid of Mexico is because they're really projecting. In fact, have you guys, one of my favorite all-time songs ever, all right, since I was a kid. You guys remember David Bowie? I'm afraid of Americans. Okay, so that song, I'm afraid of Americans. That's really the reality of it, man. Like, it's laughable to think that Americans are scared of Mexico when it's like, bro, everyone's scared of America. What the hell are you talking about? Are you freaking kidding me here? Have you ever even seen America? The world is scared of America. The end. And right now, when we're living in a world in which, hey, the people that might take over the world power would be China or Russia. You think people are really cheering on Russia, China, BRICS, any of this crap? No, they're not. They're cheering. What they really want is for America to get their shit together. All right. But anyways, the whole idea is just laughable. The fact that, Americans, are so afraid of leaving their bubble or just being outside of their bubble. And so that's why I think that they're so afraid of not just Mexico, but just anywhere you go. They're afraid because it's like, how are they going to, deal with the things that they have to deal with when they go to Mexico. And again, let's say you're traveling to Oaxaca. Let's say you're traveling to St. Louis Potosí. Let's say that you're, traveling to Mérida, to Mexico City. I mean, that's like, it's a lot more dangerous to travel through Europe. Like, literally. And people, and I don't understand, like, how people don't see that. That's right in front of their eyes. I mean, it literally is a lot more dangerous to travel through Europe these days than it is through Mexico. I mean, you hear it all the time. When the hell do you ever hear of any stories of foreigners getting attacked or killed or stabbed in Mexico, let alone Americans? And whenever you do hear of I don't want to talk about it, but whenever you hear some weird story of some weird things happening, you already know the weirdness just keeps piling up until the story disappears. So it's the same old thing. But again, you hear it all the time. You hear people getting, stabbed, robbed, all kinds of horrible things happening all over Europe, all over the world, when you travel. You hear it all the time. Are you kidding me? Look up any video, on like visiting Prague, visiting Paris, visiting what, and you're going to see. You're going to see it's like, it might as well be visiting Detroit, visiting south side of Chicago, it's like, are you serious, And so, when you're looking at Mexico, when the hell do you ever even see videos on that? You know what I mean? Like, it's so dangerous. You can't travel through XYZ area. In fact, I've shown you plenty of videos, okay. You guys can find plenty of videos out there. There's channels out there. They'll basically show side by side, hey, we're going to travel through the worst, most dangerous part of Juarez, the most dangerous part of, whatever, the dangerous cities in Mexico on the border. And then they put them side by side with like Philadelphia, San Francisco, whatever. And you're like, oh my God. You know what I mean? Are you kidding me? I want to I wouldn't walk down any of these streets in Philadelphia or Chicago or San Francisco or any of these places. Mexico, yeah, I mean, they could take my chances, but it definitely looks a lot safer, like 100% safer. I'm not saying it's safe. I'm not saying it's the safest, but my God, when you just compare it to some of these other places, it's like, are you kidding me right now? I mean, have you guys looked at some of these other cities around the world right now? Forget the USA. And, but to me, it's laughable. And we're just talking about safety. We're really just talking about safety right now. But when it comes to, I think all these other things, I think they're projecting, I think that, when you're in the USA, for example, and you're used to a tyrannical police force, for example, and the way that the police treat citizens, how they treat illegal immigrants, how they have things like ICE, where they go out and they hunt for illegal immigrants. All these horrible things that they do, and you're like, oh my God, of course they have to do that in Mexico. Why wouldn't they do that in Mexico? And it's like, they don't do that in Mexico. Everything is, a lot more free here. They give people autonomy. They give people the freedom. Sometimes too much freedom, because they trust you. They trust people. They give people trust, as opposed to in some other countries, again, like the USA, Canada, Europe, where they basically, it's like, you got a giant parent, a big brother over you, and they don't let you do anything, or you got to check in with, mom and dad, 38 times with whatever it is you're going to do and ask permission. And even when you do ask permission, let's say that you're traveling to Mexico, you got to call your bank, you got to call your cousin, your mom, your dad, whatever, right? Your bank. And you got to constantly let them know, hey, I'm still here in Mexico. Can I use my money, please? Oh, we're just trying to protect you, you should just come back home so you don't have to keep calling us, Anyways. And I could go on and on. And then, it's like all this, constant news, constant, fear mongering that you get. And a lot of it just really comes from misunderstanding or just not understanding or just, again, projecting and thinking, well, I mean, this is how we do it in the US. So, I mean, that's how they have to do it over there. And it's like, they don't. That's what Mexico, Latin America, all these other places, third world shitholes. The fact that, again, they don't function like the first world. And I mean that in the best way possible. That's why they can't even. Man, Christian was just telling me, because Christian just had to do her tax thing the other day, and she was telling me, everything that she had to do, the whole process, just how everything went. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, no wonder this country is never going to be like the U.S. You know what I mean? Like a totalitarian, monstrosity. You know what I mean? How they, the whole thing about when other YouTubers out there, for example, are constantly talking about the government's going to arrest you, the government's going to deport you, the government, you better have this paperwork, you better this, you better that, you better, and I'm like, man, do people even, are they straight up lying to you, or are they straight up just have no idea how Mexico works? You know what I mean? There's just so many things like that out here, I wish I could speak more on YouTube about some of these things, that I really want to speak on. But it's just, it's so laughable as to, why, the real reasons as to why, so many people are afraid of Mexico. Because, for example, let's say you're an American or Canadian or whatever, you're from, and you got an immigrant friend, okay? Let's say you have a job, doing a regular job, and there's an immigrant that's a friend of yours, and then you talk to them, and let's say you're well versed on everything an immigrant has to do just to be a legal immigrant in your country, and you're thinking, oh my God, I got to do all that too. Otherwise, they're gonna if I go to Mexico, otherwise they're gonna deport me. Otherwise, they're gonna this. Otherwise, they're gonna that. Otherwise, they're gonna this. And it's like, what are you talking about? Are you kidding me? You know what I mean? Like, the cops out here, they don't even know what the laws are to enforce. And even if they knew the laws, as soon as you know the law, there's nothing, it's so rare that they enforce anything out here. And it's like, anyways, all right, let me read some comments. All right, let me see some, all right. Valerie Platinga says, been living here for 7 months. My boyfriend had to go back to Canada for a few weeks. It's a challenge being alone in another country, just fear, but good for me to deal here on my own. So so for example, Valerine, what is your fear? What is your fear? The fact of not just being alone, but what what is a real fear? The fact that, I mean, by the way, all these are real fears and real concerns. Again, you're a woman alone in another country. You might not know the language, definitely don't know the customs. There's so many things, that are variables, that, are difficult, for some people to deal with. Again, these are, again, very real reasons as to why a lot of people don't make that move. Because again, they're afraid of having to deal with all this stuff. That's why I'm always emphasizing, hey, if you are somebody that has dealt with a lot of hardship in your life, moving to Mexico is just going to be another one of those. No big deal. But if you have never dealt with hardship, if you've never even been camping, if you've never even been in an uncomfortable position, where you might have to eat cold hot dogs out of the package because you can't afford to heat them up, or eating a cold, Chef Boyardee out of a can, or whatever it is you had to do, it's going to be very difficult for you to transition and translate that to moving to another country, moving out here. Give me 1 second, okay? I got to check on something outside. Anyways, so I got distracted again. I don't know what I'm talking about. I forgot what I was talking about. Kristen says hi, guys. Hey. How's the rain, huh? Mucho rain.
Justo a tiempo para agarrar el Uber para regresar.
Poor Gizmo. Yeah. So she's taking care of poor Gizmo. He's still traumatized by that lightning strike that you all saw earlier today. But yeah. Gizmo, ¿vas a salir para afuera? No quiero que
Ok. Pero se ve tranquilo ahí en su casita.
Anyways, so she says hi, everyone. All right. But anyways, I mean, the reality is like I really do think that, because I've dealt with so many expats already, so many foreigners. And, when I talk to foreigners, that have come from a background of, let's say, they live out in a rural area in Canada or the USA. They come out here and it's so easy for them. The hardest part is just the language. Or people that have come from Europe. The people from Europe, they assimilate so easy, so quickly because they kind of already live like that out there for many, aspects of, what they do. But that's why the most difficult people, for transitioning, it's always Americans for the most part, because a lot of Americans have never really had to deal with hardship. And the Americans that have come out here and, have had no problem dealing with anything are, again, the more hardier, sturdier individuals, the ones that have had a lot of life experience, perhaps live in a very rural area, or have, lived in nature, or lived, where they've had to be self-sustainable, or perhaps former military people, people that have already traveled the world, seen the world, dealt with extreme difficulties, hardships, on a daily basis. Again, you've been in the military, you know what I'm talking about. Or if you've traveled, to, certain places, if you're doing kind of like traveling what you do in the military, where it's not the most comfortable per se. But, all that stuff that really, really prepares you. And the transition to Mexico is no big deal. It's easy as pie. But for a lot of people, they just never even had any hardship, where they can't even change a flat tire. I don't even know what else to say. Again, look, you might not be able to be physically able to change a flat tire, but at the very least, be able to call AAA and just sit in your car calmly while you wait for them to fix it. Some people can't even handle that these days. That's the thing I'm trying to get at. Because again, let's say, my wife doesn't drive. Let's just say that she drove and she had a situation, and she's not going to change a tire. But, she's not going to freak out. She'll just pull over, call AAA and, whatever, deal with it. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever. And so that's what I'm trying to get at. You know what I mean? Like, so many people, are right now, they don't even know they cannot even handle their own life. They are barely hanging on. They are barely keeping it together. And so the whole idea of like having to move to another country is semi-impossible. But again, if you've already dealt with hardships and, again, you might be in the same boat where you're just still kind of, barely keeping it together, but you're keeping it together. You're going to make it through this, wave, this next hurricane, this whatever. You're going to be totally fine. There's nothing to be afraid of. The biggest fear you got is fear itself, right? I don't know. I forgot that whole, but that's the thing. But, there's so many people out there these days that are just afraid of the wind. They're afraid of everything. You already know. They're afraid of life, of living life. They can't even deal with life. So, again, some of them, believe it or not, make it to a country like Mexico or make it to live abroad. And then they quickly realize, oh my God, these are the things that every human has to do in order to really survive on a daily basis and live. And I got to do these things now. I don't know if I can handle it. And then they end up going back, to their, soft, comfortable home, wherever that is, because they never really wanted freedom. They just wanted to be comfortable. And that's the thing too. A lot of people confuse, freedom with comfort and all this other stuff. And so a lot of people, they would rather just be comfortable. You know what I mean? So shout out to everyone out there in the chat. Yeah, so it's funny. Carla's like, that's my husband. I'm from the Yucatan, and my husband is from New York, and he's scared to step in Mexico. It's like, are you kidding me? Have you seen New York lately? New York City? I'm more scared of going to New York City right now than anywhere in Mexico. I'll tell you that. So. But again, it's all perspective. It's all projection. It's all these things. So again, if you're like in New York City and you're seeing things deteriorate and they're becoming super scary, let's say you're in Philadelphia, you're in San Francisco, you're in any of these places, right? And you see things, how horrible they are right in front of your face. And you're thinking to yourself, well, if they're this horrible here in the greatest country on earth, I can't even imagine Mexico or any other country. And then you just project that it's going to be a million times worse. And it's not. It's not, because it's a hard pill to swallow that, most people just don't want to realize, the true reality of the fact that, the USA is turning more and more into a third world country each and every day. All right. And the rest of the world that used to be the third world, which, by the way, Mexico was not the third world. It's the longer I'm here, the more I realize that. But yeah, it's just freaking hilarious. And now the third world, is now becoming the first world. And now when you're saying, all these Americans or expats, or foreigners complaining about how Mexico's getting expensive. No, the reality is that, it's just more expensive for you, but not for everyone. Okay? And why is it for you? Again, maybe ask your government and ask your politicians as to why they've printed your currency into oblivion, thus making it, invaluable on the world stage. And so when you come to a country that has a strong economy, strong currency, strong everything, and, you compare that currency that you have to what they have here, and it's going to buy you less and less every day. And in many cases, they don't even want that dirty dollar anymore. All right. And again, it's not that they don't want that dirty dollar. In fact, they'll take that dirty dollar, but it's just going to cost you more of those dollars because they're worthless. So, I'm going to need more of those, so that I can use them, because at the end of the day, I'm going to use those dollars to buy me a Nike or buy me a Tesla. You know what I mean? And those things are overpriced as they are already, because, they're, priced in dollars because they come from the U.S. So, whatever, these things are more expensive now for you in dollars, so sorry. You know what I mean? So, yeah, so to me, it's so that's the thing, Mexico now. So look, right now, if you want to get more bang for your dollar, for your buck, then go to another country. Go to another shithole country, like Paris or France, or go to, like, I don't know, there's so many countries out there in which, Japan. Japan's an amazing country, but it's a cheap country these days. All right. Forever, Japan was not a cheap country. Mexico was a cheap country. Now Mexico is becoming an expensive country. And again, what does that mean? I mean, it's just because things are just better and nicer here. Just like if you're going to go to Switzerland, they're going to be expensive in Switzerland. You know what I mean? Or wherever, there's certain nice places that are always going to, Beverly Hills, it's always going to be nice and expensive. So now Mexico's becoming that. Slowly but surely. And so now a typical American or foreigner that might have come to the US, to Mexico, or they look at Mexico through these other eyes of like, oh, it's a cheap shithole, a cheap crap hole, for me to come and spend my retirement or spend my whatever at. And then now they see what's going on with the economy, what's really going on in the world. And they're like, oh, they're scared of coming out here, because if they come out here, before they know it, they know that if they're only going to rely on their dollar, it's not going to be worth much. And again, I could be wrong. You never know. Anything can happen from day to day. But the way things are going, it's not going well if you're coming out here with your dollars. And so that's the thing. It's another hard pill to swallow that a lot of people don't want to deal with. Because again, now what it means is like, hey, you want to come to Mexico, that means you might have to assimilate. Because what people don't want to do is assimilate. A lot of people, what they want to do is that they just want to go to XYZ country, and then live like kings with their dollars and not really have to assimilate, because they don't have to, because they're rich in dollars. You know what I mean? But now that you can't really kind of do that out here, it's like, well, now you got to assimilate. Oh, you don't want to assimilate? Go to the Philippines, go to Thailand, go to, I don't know, pick a country in Latin America. There's tons of countries in Latin America that are a lot cheaper. Okay? But, now we're talking about third world countries. For real. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. Typical people out there, they don't want to, they want third world prices, but they want first world comforts. And that's not how it works at all. If you want first world comforts, they're going to cost you first world prices, all right? It's as simple as that, okay? So, shout out to Michelangelo with the Michelangelo Hermoso. Beautiful name. Hermoso means beautiful or handsome. Anyway, shout out to Michelangelo. Yeah, that's loud. Sorry about that. It's crazy how many Amber Alerts we get in a week here in the US. I have completely forgot about an Amber Alert. By the way, it's not to say those things don't happen here. They do. Things happen. Okay, but long story short, yeah, I completely forgot about those Amber Alerts. Anyways. Let me see. Let me see. I'm reading the chat. I'm just going to see what's in the chat here. Yeah, that's right. Portland, Oregon. Yeah, man. Even tame ass Seattle is pretty dangerous these days. Are you kidding me? So, but yeah, the reality is that I do think that, obviously, there's a lot of propaganda out there. Mexico's also been, propaganda on Mexico that it's dangerous, the cartels, all that shit. But then I think it's also been romanticized a lot, the danger. The romanticizing of the cartel. Just like in the US, you romanticize the mafia. Everybody loves Scarface. Everybody loves Goodfellas, The Godfather. I can go on and on. Who doesn't? What guy's guy doesn't love those movies and doesn't love The Sopranos and all that stuff, okay? And what's the same thing here? They've romanticized all that. That's another thing. When it's like, when you ask the people, who are they going to choose, the government or the cartels? And then the cartels have been, romanticized to the point where it's like, like watching Breaking Bad or watching Narcos or watching The Sopranos. And it's like, when you watch The Sopranos and it's like, yeah, these people have like a little bit of influence in these regions of parts of the country. But when you're talking about like Mexico and you're talking about like the same scenario, and these people actually run the show in many cases, it's like, how can people that are Mexican not romanticize them and also sympathize with them? So when you're looking at it like that, it's very different. You know what I mean? It's very different. So that's why a lot of people, they look at it, and they might be scared of all that and at the same time not scared. You follow me? It's like, when you're watching like something like Breaking Bad, it almost like made that world not scary because of Walter White. You know what I'm saying? Where it's just, it turned like the most boring, stick up his ass dude in the world into, the biggest freaking meth dealer in the USA, or whatever, or in the region, dealing with, straight up cartels, okay? So it's kind of like the whole romanticizing of that. And so like, the same thing happens out here in Mexico. But, I think what it is more than anything else is that, again, people love to make excuses. And so really the reality is that when they say, oh, I'm scared of Mexico because of violence. I'm scared of Mexico because of the cartel. I'm scared of Mexico because of the corrupt police. And it's like, you're really just scared of moving to another country. You're really just scared that you have to learn another language. You're really scared that now you're the immigrant. Now you're the dirty, that wetback. Now you're on the dirty end of the stick. That's really what you're scared of. Because don't be telling me that you're scared of the corrupt police when literally in the USA they pull you over, grandma for having a broken taillight and they fucking break her neck. All right, or whatever it is they do, all these horrible things that they do, out in the USA, out in the world out there, and it's a constant thing that happens all the freaking time. And the reality is that, whether it's happens on purpose or not, you're really going to be telling me that a police officer in the USA, for example, that is looking to put you into the system, that is looking to, commit violence against you, whether it's because they are scared or because they want to, it doesn't matter, as opposed to a police officer in Mexico, which is basically going to keep shaking you down for money, because that's all they want. They don't want to do work. They don't want to do their job. They don't want to do any of that. All they want is some money. And if you give them a hard time, they're going to say, bye, get out of here, because they don't want a hard time. And then it's like, really? You're scared more of the police in Mexico and having to negotiate with them as opposed to negotiating your life, in the USA or in other countries right now? Or when it comes to, forget, again, you're never going to see the cartel, deal with any of that. But when you're in the USA, you're constantly dealing with gang violence or real violence or just, I don't know, road rage violence or just, again, grandma. The same grandma that, you couldn't break her neck. She coming out there with an AK-47 and shooting you up just because, she's off her meds or on her meds. Or on the wrong meds. Or on a mix of right and the wrong meds. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, but the point is like, when you're just talking about everyday life in the USA, everybody's on drugs, whether legal or not legal, whether they're out of their minds or not out of their minds, everybody has a gun, like for real. By the way, everybody has a gun in Mexico too, but you don't see people shooting them up all over the place. And I could go on and on. It's like, really? Are Americans really afraid of whatever the hell is out there? Are you kidding me? Again, the song from David Bowie, I'm afraid of Americans. Come on, man. Are you kidding me? It's funny because people come and ask me, it's like, oh my God, what should I be looking out for out here? I'm like, man, what are you talking about, man? You're the scary person. You're the danger. You're the problem. You're the one that people are scared of here, okay? Or anywhere. Okay, for the most part. That's really the case. This is reality. Oh my God. Cutesy, thank you so much for that $50 donation. Holy guacamole. Wow, thank you. But yeah, that's really it. And so I really do think, I really do think, the more I think about this, the more I talk about it out in the open with you guys, is that, people just project more than anything else. They really are just making excuses, as to, like, oh, Mexico's so dangerous and horrible, because they don't want to deal with what they have in front of their face. They don't want to deal with their harsh reality of what their life actually is. And they want to just say to themselves, oh, yeah, this is bad, but I'm dealing with it, whatever. It's definitely worse elsewhere, and it's not. The reality is, by the way, there are places that are worse and bad and horrible. Don't get me wrong, okay? But the reality is that more often than not, what's going to be out there in the world, whether it's Mexico or whatever other country you go to, you're going to quickly find out that it's a million times safer, okay, than whatever it is you're dealing with right now. And then Mexico is not that dangerous. The rest of the world is not that dangerous. People in Mexico, just like people all over the world, are extremely friendly, extremely nice, extremely, hospitable, family oriented, and I could go on. And it's the complete opposite of everything you've been told. And that's the thing, most people don't want to deal with, the fact that they've been lied to a good majority of, their life, or a good majority of, everything. Hold on a second. Let me get the lights back on. Seems like the storm has passed. But anyways, Cutesy, again, thank you so much for the $50 donation. Shout out to you. Pow, so freaking true. Don't get me started. That's right. Don't get me started. That's right. I need a drink after that rant. I need various drinks. I need, gotta smoke a blunt. You already know. This is a very rated R live stream today. I hope I don't get in trouble. I don't even know any more these days. You know what I get in trouble for, what I don't get in trouble for. Whatever. Anyways. But again, that's why I'm also like, speaking of, why I'm starting a business, why I'm moving on in that direction. It's because, again, this whole thing, as much as I love doing it, I don't know, how long it's, going to last, meaning, again, I don't know the overlords. I remember I work for YouTube, I work for whatever. So it's up to them as to when, they want to, keep this thing going. Not just for me, but so many creators out there. And then once that happens, there's going to be kind of like a transition period until people find their new YouTube or new home. And again, I'm talking way in the future like I always do. But long story short, this is not guaranteed. This is awesome. I love it. Right now it's helping me pay the bills. Again, it's not paying me, what you guys think it's paying me. It's, again, it's barely enough to pay the bills. And I got to do other things, in order to keep those, bills paid and so on. But at the end of the day, this is why, again, part of the scary part of moving to Mexico, moving to another country. It's like, hey, not only part of the assimilation is that you probably got to start a business, or you probably got to work for a Mexican company, and you might not get paid as much, or you might get paid in a different currency, or you might, again, it's so many variables that people are just like, what? I'm just going to shut the hell up and keep selling these chicken nuggets. What is it? Ding, fries are done. Fring, ding, fries are done. Ding, fries are done. Ding, 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 ding. Can I have another chicken nugget, please? Can I have another chicken nugget, please? Can I have some sweet and sour sauce now? Can I have some barbecue sauce now? Ding, fries are done. Ding, fries are done. Anyways, so yeah, I mean, most people are just like, when they really kind of deal with the fact that, what it really entails to move to another country, start all over again, start a new life, start a whole everything. They're just like, yeah, no, I just, I'll just keep dealing with whatever I'm dealing with out here. That's the reality of it. You know what I mean? That's the truth. And that's why there's so many. I mean, I keep trying to make all these videos, trying to really, give people the truth. I don't want people to get that misconception. There's so many people are, move out here, move abroad, with an idea that they're moving to Club Med, they're just going to be living a certain lifestyle, and then quickly realize that that's not the truth. They want a Club Med, they should have gone to Club Med, or whatever. They want a retirement community, maybe they should have just gone to, like, I don't know, Royal Oaks, phase 13, over there in XYZ state, as opposed to coming out here, and so on and so forth. You know what I mean? That's the reality. And so, as Mexico gets stronger as a country, I mean, the opportunities are going to be falling off a tree. But that means that you got to come out here and you got to put in the work. You got to assimilate. You got to, do stuff. Get off your ass, and, yeah, if you're willing to do that and then some, yeah, you're going to love it out here. But, this is not the place, again, it used to be a place where you could just come out here and just kind of like chill and just have a really crappy, shitty, income and just, live on the beach and what have you. But again, as time goes on and this becomes more of a developed country, though, by the way, those opportunities are still going to be around, but they're going to be less and less because the reality is that, now Mexico's turning into a first world country and, or you're moving on, and becoming more like the USA or Canada in certain aspects. And so, well, guess what? That comes with a lot. And that means that you got to now, participate, in one shape, form or another. It doesn't mean you're going to be a debt slave. It doesn't mean that you're going to be, doing all these things that you hate. No, it just means that now, you have the opportunity to live the American dream or, achieve the American dream, but in this part of America, in Mexico, Because remember, the Americas, right? All the American dream can be achieved anywhere. It doesn't have to be in the USA. It can be in Mexico. It can be in another part of Latin America. Okay? Hey, shout out to Talaya for the $2. Shout out to you. Thank you very much. Shout out to everyone. Thank you for all the kind words in the chat. You guys crack me up as well. I love you guys. Valerine Planitinga says, I tried to give you a donation, but wouldn't go through. Grr. Yeah, I don't know. A lot of people are having trouble with that. I tried to kind of look into that. And long story short, it has nothing to do with me. It's something to do with something on your end or YouTube's end on your end. And I apologize for that. I wish there was a better or easy fix for that, but there isn't. Sorry. But anyways, love you guys. Shout out to all you guys, you know. Robert Pino says, I was telling my gringo friend that I'm heading to Ensenada and Playa del Carmen and in August, and the first thing they said was, aren't you worried about the cartels? It's like, worried about what? You know, I know. It's like, worried about what? You know what I mean? Like, and again, by the way, for anyone that's traveled through Mexico and you see all these checkpoints, it's always the corrupt police officers shaking you down for money. Or sometimes you'll see some of these checkpoints, you know, in certain areas, and it's basically the people of the village, the people of the area that close it down because they're looking for a toll for, you know, they're basically just like asking for a handout. Now, again, I'm not going to get into that whole issue as how to deal with them because depending on the part of Mexico, depends on how you're going to deal with them. Some of them you got to give them the handout or you're not going to get through. Some of them you can get through without giving them a handout, and there's everything in between. But trust me, the cartel ain't doing any of that. They don't care. They're too busy doing all the other things that I told you about. Again, conducting real business, you know, not asking for handouts on the side of the road. Okay? You know, so, you know what I mean? But anyways, whatever. But yeah, that is funny, man. That is really funny, Robert. All right, let me see. Tammy says, I wonder if changes are coming since Mexico joined BRICS. That is not true. Mexico did not join BRICS, and they're not going to join BRICS at all. At all. Because their currency is so strong, and they are so sovereign, and they're attached to the USA, they're never in a million years going to join BRICS. It does not benefit Mexico in any way at all economically. Now, it might benefit, you know, other entities out there, but not Mexico. And Mexico is on a projection to become sovereign, independent, and become an economic powerhouse. So that means that they're more interested in just making their peso as strong as possible. And, you know, again, maybe reaching a point where it gets close to like the dollar, the euro, whatever. Yeah, and again, that's a lot of things that people are also scared of, especially now more than ever, you know, where, hey, you know, the stronger Mexico gets, you know, the less that your dollar's going to be worth. You know, imagine if it gets to like, instead of one, remember, people are complaining, remember, we're 1 to 20, and we're complaining about 1 to 17. Imagine if it goes to like 1 to 5. You know? Definitely not going to see any American tourists out here, I'll tell you that. Mexico did not join BRICS, guys, okay? I don't know where, I know people are, you know, there's people out there spreading that news, but there's no Mexico joining BRICS. It's not happening. No way, Jose, okay? They got these, I don't know if you've ever heard of the Mexican silver currency coin, you know, the real currency. That's not happening. Don't worry, Tammy, it's okay. You know, I mean, remember, there's a lot of interest out there that would really love for that to happen. But I'm telling you, you know, just from like a business perspective, just because I really do follow these things a lot. I mean, you know, I used to talk about these things a lot, you know, on my other channel, you know, a lot of these other things that are happening around the world. But long story short, you know, Mexico's in a golden opportunity position. You know, them doing something like joining BRICS, you know, it's like shooting themselves in the foot with a shotgun. You know, like, why would they do that? They would never do that, ever. You know what I mean? Like, honestly. And also, BRICS, don't get me started on all that. You know, to me, that's all fake, phony, and false. You know what I mean? Like, if you really look at it, you know, it's China, India, Russia, South Africa, and Brazil. Brazil right now, they're going through a humongous, you know, turmoil right now because, again, the whole presidential election, okay? South Africa, I mean, it's basically like a nuclear bomb exploded there. So it's like, again, these two countries, you know, they're I mean, are you kidding me right now? Okay, so then we got Russia. I mean, really, do we got to talk about what's going on in Russia right now? We got China. Do we really got to talk about what's going on in China right now? China's falling apart within itself. It's, you know, literally, you know, eating itself from the inside. And then we got the last country, which is India, which is like literally the number one partner to the USA in that region, the most important and powerful number. Okay, and they hate China. In fact, they're fighting with China and Pakistan, which are the both bordering countries right now, over water rights, over, nuclear. Right now, like, Pakistan is like pointing nuclear missiles at India and vice versa. And, right now, China and India are all fighting over water. I don't want to don't get me started on all that. So really, so that they join BRICS, they're going to be partnering up against the USA? No, it's not. Now listen, I could go on and on about this topic, okay? But the reality is that whole situation is not what you think it is. Remember, there's a lot of people creating propaganda out there, and there's a lot of anti-US, anti-dollar propaganda. Again, I'm not here protecting the dollar or the US, but I'm just saying what it is. And the reality is that all these countries that created BRICS, or formed BRICS. I mean, are you kidding me? They can't even sustain their own economy, their own country right now. And now they're going to create this world currency that's going to take down the dollar. The dollar that is like 75% of the world right now uses it for currency, for transactions. So really? Also, China, which is the big dog in this BRICS, whatever, they don't even allow the yuan out of their own country. So how's that even going to work? Russia right now, I mean, anyways, the more you talk about it, the more you realize, dollar ain't going nowhere. As much as I hate to say it, that's the reality of it, all right? And and if something does happen, again, we might have something closer to, like, let's say, I don't know, maybe a Bitcoin standard or some sort of cryptocurrency or a CBDC or, silver, gold standard. Yeah, no. I see so many other scenarios that are not BRICS, that are more likely to happen, okay? So, I mean, that's just me. That's just my own personal opinion. I'm just a guy with a plastic horse. Don't listen to me, okay? So, let me see. Jetta says, I have a good friend who is Mexican-American and speaks the language, and she's afraid to travel to Mexico. Yeah, no, listen, I know, yeah. To travel to Mexico with me, and I'm like, you speak the language, I don't, and I'm not afraid. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, look, the propaganda is also strong within the Mexican community. You know how many Mexicans that have lived generation upon generation in the USA, or maybe just one generation, and they left Mexico when Mexico was bad or not doing well. So of course they still think of Mexico that way. They probably haven't been to Mexico ever, and so they obviously just think that Mexico is like, horrible, beyond horrible. They believe all the propaganda and then some, because again, 50 years ago it was hell on earth, for a lot of people. I'm not saying, again, I want to keep emphasizing, I'm not saying that things are hunky-dory right now in Mexico. Look, a good majority of Mexico is pretty good, but there's a lot of parts of Mexico that are not doing well right now. I don't want to get into why that is, USA. But long story short, there's a whole drug war going on. I know you've heard of it. Okay, so anyways. But look, outside of certain regions, certain areas, Mexico's doing really well. And yes, that is really funny you say that, Jetta, because again, let me just read the full comment without interrupting myself here. But Jetta says, I have a good friend who is Mexican-American and speaks Spanish, and she's afraid to travel to Mexico with me. I'm like, girl, you speak the language, and I don't. And I'm not afraid. What's wrong with you? I'm sorry, I'm pretending to be Jetta for a minute there. Anyways. No, wait. No. Wait. This is Jetta right now.
How dare you?
I'm assuming you're a girl, okay? Sorry about that. I didn't mean to assume your gender. Anyways. But yeah, I mean, that is hilarious. Look, how about this? I got family members in Miami. We grew up in the 80s in Miami. We grew up, danger. It's still dangerous in parts of Miami. I mean, are you kidding me? Anyways. And my family, they all think I'm living in, like the jungle. I'm living in the most dangerous part of the world. I'm like, I'm crazy. How could Jose be living out there? Oh my God, And I'm like, bro, are you kidding me? You know, your neighborhood, you know, with your private schools and your, you know, your Starbucks is a lot more dangerous than whatever you're going to find out here. Are you kidding me right now? Anyways, you know, so yeah. It is interesting though, but you know, why are we, again, you know, going back to the root, you know, topic here, which is, you know, why are so many Americans, you know, or I mean, sorry, why are so many people afraid of Mexico, but, you know, mostly Americans, is because of that. It's because they really have never really dealt with hardship before. And then the thought of actually having to deal with that hardship is so overwhelming where they're like, okay, forget about it, I'm done. You know, when you ask like a typical European to deal with something, you know, that's moving to Mexico, it's really not that big of a deal, because the reality is that a typical European, you know, again, think about it. Let's say you're a German, you know, you probably already know two languages, which is German and English. Maybe you've traveled to France or Spain. You might know a little French or Spanish. You're already familiar with all these different cultures. You probably went to Spain, which is the furthest away, you know, on a family vacation, maybe a school field trip. Maybe you went out with your girlfriend out there, whatever. All I'm saying is that, you know, for a typical European, it's a lot easier for them to deal with, you know, all this cultural diversity, you know, moving to another country and then, you know, maybe not having toilet paper or, you know, whatever, the stupid little things that like an American, they just cannot deal with, because it's like, how is it that I'm traveling to Mexico and it's not like Disneyland? You know, why is it, you know, like a typical American, you know, they want to travel to the resorts and they will never leave the resort walls or the resort area, because, you know, what do you mean I gotta squat down to take a dump? You know, where, you know, again, you ask the rest of the world and it's like a typical Chinese tourist will, you know, squat down to take a dump in Times Square, you know. So anyways, no. I mean, that's really what I think. I think that most people are, you know, they say they're scared of the cartel, they're scared of this. But, you know, in today's day and age, where there's like a billion videos on Mexico and Latin America showing you how beautiful it is, how safe it is, how amazing the people are, you know, how amazing the infrastructure is, you know, how amazing, you know, just everything is. It's like there's really no excuse, you know, outside of not knowing the language and the fact that you just don't want to deal with any hardship. Like, again, you know, having to, you know, maybe you're on the road and you have to, you know, use an outhouse for once. You know what I mean? Like, Jesus. But again, you know, you'll take a dump in a dirty, in a dirty gas station bathroom in the sink. You'll do that, but you won't, you know, take. You know, you won't do a number 2 on the side of a, you know, an outhouse in a village. In fact, some of you dirty mother effers out there, you know, you'll have sex in a dirty gas station bathroom, right? But then you're coming to Mexico like, that person didn't wash their hands. I'm like, bro, are we? I'm going on my horse. I'm out of here, you know? You'll have a dirty, you know, water hot dog from New York, and then you're coming out here, you know, expecting to have like a 5-star inspection, you know, on the guy making the tacos. You know, like, get out of here. Anyways. Maggie Price yesterday talking about the condo I am building in Aguas Calientes. When they asked about the danger, I asked, when is the last time someone walked into a school and killed a bunch of kids in Mexico? Yeah, exactly. You know, like all these things that, like, living in the USA, you are constantly on edge. You're in constant fear of getting killed by so many random things. It doesn't matter where you are. It is so dangerous. You can get killed by a cop. You can get killed by a gunman. You can get killed by a road rage. You can be out in a rural area and get killed by a bear, or a tiger, or a bear, oh my, whatever, sorry, I forgot, I fucked it up, anyways. But you know what I mean, I'm using all the cuss words today because I already figured that this video is already gonna, you know, not anyways. So, but the point I'm making is that, I mean, the USA is dangerous, you know what I mean? And by the way, you know, that's also what makes America so, you know, hardcore, because, you know, we do live in a very dangerous environment, even if you're living in the rural areas. I mean, come on, you know, let's be honest. And so, obviously, I think that people get scared of the fact that, like, of course, again, they it's the whole idea. If it's this bad in the USA, then it has to be worse everywhere else. You know what I mean? And so when you see all these, all these school shootings or all these mass shootings or all these things, of course, people think that is also happening on a daily basis in Mexico, when it's like, again, even with all the cartel action and all the horribleness that happens out here, there's never a mass shooting. There's never like an innocent that gets killed. I mean, it happens. Don't get me wrong. But it's like, more people die out of road rage on a daily basis than they do on a yearly basis in Mexico. From all the other violence, So, anyways. But yeah, that's a great point you're making. I mean, yeah, it's true. What about aggressive? Okay. So that's LG says, what about aggressive drivers in Mexico? It's great. I see it all the time. In fact, I see videos all the time of like Mexican road rage. And man, half the time, a good majority of the time, the road rage is basically like they yelling at each other. Hey, bro, watch out. And the guy's like, oh yeah, man, I'm sorry. My bad. I apologize. Da, 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 da. And like, oh no, don't worry about it, man. It's all right. Just be more careful next time. Hey, wear your helmet. Hey, da, da, da. But it's more like, just two people kind of like, hey, man, yeah, you fucked up. Hey, whatever. And then that's it. They just kind of like, that's it. They deal with it right there. Sometimes when it gets way out of hand, they'll go out of their car and they'll duke it out. There ain't no guns. There ain't no nothing. Life is valuable. And this is just a stupid traffic, whatever. You know what I mean? And yes, it's already stupid enough that they're getting out of their car to fight each other. They're going to just fight each other. That's it. They both want to come out of it alive, but they got some aggression they want to take out, and maybe whatever it might be, it might be an accident to a point where they're going to duke it out, and that's it. It happens very rarely, but that's all you're going to get. And in fact, most people know that if they're going to have some sort of road rage, they're either going to apologize or they're going to have to either have an ass kicking or whatever, an ass kicking or an apology are going to come out, one or the other. All right. And so most people just are like, yeah, I'd rather not even deal with it, okay? So that's that. But yeah, it happens, but nowhere near how it's in the USA. And look, and I'm from Miami. We are like the road rage capital of the world. You know what I mean? Are you kidding me? And it's like, it's nowhere near. Nowhere near. You know what I mean? Like, and especially like the things that happen road rage wise, in the USA and Florida. It's like next level, man. It's like it's like GTA. You're playing Grand Theft Auto 24 hours a day. Living in the USA is like living in Grand Theft Auto during the apocalypse. Jonathan K says, I was talking to a woman the other day and she said she's scared of getting shot in Mexico. Yeah, the only shots you should be scared of in Mexico are tequila shots and mezcal shots, okay? That's it. Because once you get to Mexico, you're going to realize everyone's going to want to be giving you shots. Hey, take a shot of this, take a shot of that, and it's going to be very rude for you to say no. And again, don't nobody likes, a quitter. Get drunk. But yeah, you're gonna get shot. You're gonna get shots all over the place, right? It's like I was like, she couldn't. But anyways, yeah. So, but yeah, I'm glad. And then you asked her. You was like, why would they shoot you? Why would they waste a bullet on your dumb ass, right? And yeah, she couldn't answer. But yeah, the only shots you're gonna get are, like I said, shots of tequila. That's it. So, hope you're ready for that. Oh my God. But yeah, I mean, honestly, the reality is that I really do think that, especially today, more than anything else, with all the information we have, again, like just YouTube, for example, all the information that we have from YouTube, videos. Forget people like me talking. You get to see it, in so many videos. I'm not just Mexico. You get to see videos of Afghanistan. You get to see videos of all these places around the world, and they're not scary at all. And then the places they're telling you, hey, this place is not scary, are the most scary. Again, go to South Africa right now. Go to Chicago. Go to Philadelphia. Go. I dare you. Go ahead. Have fun. Knock yourself out. You know what I mean? They're telling you those places aren't scary. But then they tell you that, again, be careful, of, certain places that, you don't need to see any violence, So many parts of the world in which, they might have like, one murder a year, and a population of like 20 million, or what. Yeah, it's just crazy, man. Long story short, which Jose always says, that's right. I really like your thank you, Alpha Male. Shout out to you. Shout out to all of you guys out there. Love you guys. Thank you very much. But yeah, again, going back to what I've been saying, throughout this whole video, I think that most people out there that are just afraid of Mexico are really just projecting, because they're really, they're making excuses, they're really just afraid of having to deal with, what they're going to have to deal with when it comes to making a huge move. And then the reality is that, again, when they say that they're scared of all this violence in Mexico, and yet refuse to see the violence that's happening right in front of their face on a daily basis, I don't know what else to say, except, people are in denial, they got Stockholm syndrome, whatever, whatever it is, it is what it is. But for so many people out there that, are, already, what is it? Because I can't even use the word awake anymore. What is it? What's the word? Based? I don't know. What do they use? What's the word these days? But people that know what's going on. All right. For anyone out there that really knows what's going on these days, you already know. You can see the writing on the wall, and you're looking for a better alternative. And so this is why I make these videos, on my channel, talking to you guys about what it is to live in Mexico. Because again, if you are perhaps thinking about retiring and you got a really small retirement, maybe, the way things are going with the dollar and so many of the things, maybe Mexico might not be the best spot. Maybe somewhere else. But if you're looking, like, again, you might be 30 or 40 years old, and you got to restart, rebuild, renew yourself, rebirth, then maybe Mexico's a great spot for you, where you can come out here and land on your feet and really build something that, you're going to be able to leave for your children and your children's children, like other Mexicans do. So yeah, the reality is that, right now the American dream is in this part of America, which is in Mexico. And, some people just don't want to deal with that, because again, there's so many people out there that, the reality why they're so scared is because they grew up scared. They grew up soft. They're soft individuals, and they're scared of everything. And really what they're scared of is the challenge, that really is, becoming a foreigner, becoming an immigrant in another country, having to learn another language, learn culture, deal with the harsh reality of life. The fact that if you're in the USA right now, you can complain about my job. I can complain about, I got to do laundry. I got to this, I got to that. But then when you come to Mexico and like nobody complains and everybody has a lot harder life than whatever the hell you're complaining about, you can't complain no more, and people don't want to deal with that either. You know what I mean? I could go on and on. So they would just rather stay in a country full of complainers, so they can complain to their heart's content and continue living that life. The low frequency life. So Delfino Tanino says, one word of advice: if you're a foreigner in Mexico, do not yell at Mexicans. They will not like it. Yeah, don't yell at anybody in any country. They're not going to like it at all. And they might react in a very hostile way, because they're just not used. You know why they're not used to that? Because again, people out here are, they still uphold manners. They uphold ethics and respect and all this other stuff. So if you come out here and you start acting a fool, yeah, you're gonna get the treatment. Now listen, we live in a very elitist country as well, meaning that, you come out here with like a gazillion dollars and you start, yelling at people and demanding things, but you're also showering everybody with money. Listen, you're going to be fine. But if you're coming out here, again, with your breakfast burrito, McDonald's salary, and you're trying to yell at people, that are probably making more than you, it's not going to end well at all. At all. You know what I mean? So, yeah, just be aware of your surroundings and be aware of who you are and what you are. And again, if you're going to be a piece of shit, if you're going to be an asshole, if you're going to be just make sure that you can pay your way out of it. Otherwise, it is not going to end well, because again, in the USA, you can be a piece of crap. You can be, all these things, treat people like crap and get away with it, no problem. That does not fly anywhere else in the world. All right, so. But yes, thank you, Delfino. You make a great point. Then Brian Saul says, yeah, you have to do laundry in Mexico? Nah, well, I mean, you don't have to. You can give your laundry to somebody to do it for you. It only costs like $6, So I'm just particular about my laundry. I like to do my own laundry. But, many Mexicans, they just take their laundry to the laundromat and they wash it, fold it. They do everything for you for like $5-6. So. Alpha Male says your barbershop video in media was incredible. Excellent work. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. It took me over a month to make for just a handful of views, but thank you. I really appreciate that because I'm not doing it for the views. I'm doing it because I want to make it. I really wish I could make more videos like that, but those don't pay the bills. Videos like this pay the bills. But anyways, thank you. I appreciate that very much. As far as safety, we Americans ignore all the violence in our own country and highlight petty crimes in other places. Yeah, exactly. It's just incredible. As an American, as a freedom-loving American, that comes from a very dangerous state, the state of Florida, as I've traveled, because I've traveled through Mexico. I know there's plenty of people that have traveled a lot more than me, but as I've traveled through Mexico, and I've compared it to the travels I've had through my own country of the USA. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? This is safe as hell out here. What the hell are people talking about? Mexico is so safe. Might as well be Disney World, compared to where I'm from. So, anyways, McDonald's is now paying $15 an hour. Man, in some places, McDonald's is paying $25 an hour. So, yeah. Let me see. Anyway, shout out to everyone out there. Again, shout out to all the donations today. Shout out to Cutesy for the $50. Shout out to Talaya for the $2 and all the other donations throughout the day and the other videos. Shout out to. By the way, you see that? That's from me talking so much. I inhale so much hot air, okay, that I get like, what is it? There's air in me, and I'm like, like kind of like burping it up. This is problems that people that talk a lot have, okay? So, too much information, huh?
Bruh.
Shout out to Michelangelo. Shout out to everyone out there today. Love you guys. Much appreciated. But I think we covered everything today, man, honestly. Yeah, McDonald's meals are now $18. Yeah, I don't doubt it. Yeah, someone was like leaving a comment in one of my videos the other day. Like, oh, Mexico has the highest inflation rate. Bro, I've been here the last 5 years. I ain't paying no $18, for a fucking Big Mac. I'll tell you that. So. Get the fuck out of here with that. So. Yeah, man. Yeah, but it's like all that propaganda about all these things. Yeah, the reality is that if you're coming out here with dollars, that they might be costing you $18 for a Big Mac out here, but I'm paying in pesos and it's not costing me that. So, what are other cities considered safe in Mexico besides Merida? I have no idea. But I've been to Mexico City, pretty safe. I've been to Oaxaca, pretty safe. Again, for me. But remember, I'm a guy that comes from a dangerous area, dangerous neighborhood, so I'm always watching my back. I'm always making sure, I don't got, something that a pickpocket might have. I'm also, not carrying anything too valuable in case I do get robbed. In case I do get robbed, I might have a little personal stack of cash in my sock, whatever. So I'm prepared for the worst. And long story short, I'm always on high alert. And when I'm, traveling to all these other parts of Mexico, I was like, man, this is not, not dangerous at all. Of course, be on high alert, be on alert, be aware of your surroundings, use common sense. If you already come from areas like that, you'll be fine. But the reality is that no way. I don't know. I don't know what other safe areas. I would say most of Mexico is pretty safe, just as safe, maybe. This area, is considered safe just because it has a lot of a very high government and police presence. But again, You know, not everybody considers that safe. Okay? And again, what is safe? You know what? The fact that they, you know, the numbers that they report say that it's safe. You know, look, I live here, and yes, I consider it extremely safe because the only thing I really see when I'm looking at the news is very petty crime, if anything at all. And most of the, you know, stuff that happens that I see are just, you know, drunk driving accidents or, you know, people crossing the highway on foot when they shouldn't be doing that. You know, just bad accidents, really. You know, that's really more what I see than anything else. And then the same thing, you know, when I go to other, you know, when I hear about other things that happen in other parts of Mexico, it's, you know, you're going to see crime. You might see death. You know, you might see murder. A lot of times when you'll see a murder or you'll see like any kind of like violence, you know, a lot of times it's domestic violence. You know, what is it? Like crimes of passion. You know, that kind of stuff. So... But yeah, but that's it really, you know. But I don't know. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't know what to tell you. I haven't really traveled Mexico enough to talk about it like that. But just, you know, as an American, coming from one of the most dangerous countries on earth, I would say most of Mexico's safe, man. Honestly, to tell you the truth. You know, I would just be, you know, I would steer clear of a lot of the border towns, you know, the border, you know, meaning U.S.-Mexico border. Those are the most dangerous areas. You know, also certain areas, you know, right now, maybe Sinaloa, Michoacan, you know, a lot of heavy cartel presence out there, you know. That's other than that, you know, most of Mexico's pretty safe. Pretty safe. You know what I mean? You know, the most dangerous thing you're going to encounter are tourist traps. You know, people trying to give you a gringo price. When you're walking around, you know, don't fall on the bad, you know, sidewalks, infrastructure, you know, maybe, you know, if you're riding your bike, careful of the potholes, you know, things that you're not going to be thinking of when it comes to danger, but that's it. It's really not that dangerous. In fact, it is so underwhelming how not dangerous it really is. And then when you do encounter danger, and if you've actually encountered danger in your life before, you're like, man, this is the danger? This guy? This thing? This situation? That's a danger? You know, it's more like, bro, really? You know, and then you quickly realize, oh, wait a minute, I could probably just muscle my way out of this, you know? Or scream at this guy to the point where he's going to leave me alone. You know? So, yeah, no, it is so underwhelming. Especially, look, as an American, I'm only speaking to Americans coming here. If you're Canadian, if you're coming from certain parts of Europe, look, Mexico might be extremely scary. It might be a lot more scary and violent than what you might be used to. But look, as an American, look, you're going to be dealing with a lot more violence on a daily basis, wherever the hell you're from, than anything you're ever going to deal with out here. Period. End of story. All right? I mean, the whole anything about cartels is never going to be with you or the population. So it doesn't matter where the cartel action is. But yeah, the cartel action right now, as far as I hear, is concentrated in those areas, you know, in some of these areas up north. But it's not really, again, you're never going to see it. It's never going to involve you. You're never going to be an innocent victim to anything. So it doesn't really matter, you know. So the only one that are really affecting, you know, some of these areas, or in some of these areas where there's really heavy, you know, wars going on, it's going to be affecting some of the civilians living in some of these areas to the point where they got to like move to Merida or another part of Mexico. That's it. Okay? You know, just like right now, you know, if you're living in San Francisco, in Los Angeles, if you're living in Chicago, in Philadelphia, you know, some of these areas, you're leaving your area and you got to move to, I don't know, Austin, you know, St. Petersburg, Florida. I don't know, you know, that kind of stuff. Alpha Male asked me about golf courses in Merida. I actually made a video on that. And, you know, that is a perfect segue to round this bad boy up, okay? We're going to talk about that, bring this bad boy up to, you know, round it up. You went to Five Guys and it was $28. Was one of the Five Guys in the burger itself? I mean, what the hell? Did Five Guys, you know, Anyways, I don't know. Forget it. All these bad jokes, you can make up your own bad joke, okay? But, okay, that's it. It's starting to rain hard again, so I got to bring this bad boy to an end before we have another lightning strike like we did earlier in the show. By the way, if you guys want to see a live lightning strike live on air, just go to the beginning of the live stream and you'll see it at some point. That was pretty crazy, man. Still got Gizmo here. He's already passed out. I lulled him to sleep with my... Poor guy. Oh, man. All right, so, okay, let's bring this bad boy up to the end. All right, guys, so you already know the deal. Hold on a second. Beep, beep, boop. All right, guys, so you already know the deal. You know, if you guys want to know how you can ask your own question, or if you are like alpha male right now that has a question that I've already answered before, all you got to do is go to my YouTube page, okay, and just scroll down here to all the questions answered, okay, playlist, and you get to see all the questions. Okay, so alpha male, just dig through there. I answered this like a few weeks ago, I think maybe a month ago. So just dig through there, and you'll find the video where I talked about golf courses. I talked about tennis. I think it's tennis. In fact, we'll look at it together. Playlist. So you guys can see. Might as well give you a quick overview. Where is it? Oh, there. Oh, there you go. And you get... Yeah, that's the... Where's the one that I... There it is. See, are there tennis courts, golf courses, all that in Mexico? So there you go. Ta-da. See? Okay. But anywho's, you can just go and dig through there to see if I have already answered your question in the past. And if I haven't, then all you got to do is simply, you know, send me an email. Okay. Just go to my website, click on the link that I provide in the chat, that I provide in the description of this video, that I provide in the comments section. All right, you click there, and then it'll take you to my website. In fact, it'll take you straight to this page on my website where I come out, again, talking about how you can participate. And basically, how it works, you send me an email with your question. Depending on the severity of the question, the complexity of the question will depend on the amount of the donation. We come to an agreement of to what the donation is going to be, and then that's it. You know what I mean? I answer your question on a following Thursday. Every single Thursday, I answer 3 questions. We answer them in the late afternoon, early to late afternoon. And sometimes we don't answer any questions. So every single Thursday we do this, but once a month we do a question and answer session in which I answer all of your questions. Okay, I'm just sitting here answering all your questions. Okay, so last time we did one was a 14,000 subscriber special, and we're going to move on. And the next one is going to be later this month. We're about to hit 15,000 subscribers. So, you know, it might be in the next week or two, all right? So I hope that helps you for future scheduling. All right, sorry, I got distracted there. Okay, so, but long story short, if you want to answer a question, you want to help participate, you want to help... what you might contribute to the show by not just giving a donation. Again, shout out to everyone out there, you know, that gave a donation today. But if you also want to get a little something back for your donation, let's say you get you can buy a T-shirt. I don't know what kind of. I'm like, I can't speak straight. Anyways, you can buy a T-shirt, you can buy a mug, you can buy some merchandise. You can do like Jetta or Cutesy or, you know, Teresa or whoever just did, and then just donate $5. Shout out to, I see the $5 in there. Thank you. Shout out to you. You can send a quick donation, you know, and just, you know, free money. Or you can get something back, you know, whether it's a T-shirt, or you can get a tailor-made video just for you, like this one, in which I am here, you know, answering your question, or that one, or this one, or that one, or whatever. And that's it. And that's how we do it here, guys. All right. So, you know, there's many ways in which we can help and participate. Some of us out there in the audience have a little bit more, you know, to give out, you know, give out resources, you know. So, for example, all you guys that are giving donations, you know, whether it's to answer a question or just help out the show, you're basically helping out the whole community, because now I get to make a video where I'm answering this question, talking about a topic, whatever it is, and now we get to all discuss, we get to talk deeper, we get to know more, educate ourselves better, again, build a stronger community, and just, continue this whole thing. Because the reality is that, the only incentive I have at this moment, besides wanting to help all you guys out, because that's really why I've started to make all these videos years ago, and I continue making these videos, is because I love to help people out. In this case, I'm helping people out with information on Mexico, but again, I love making videos about cooking and other aspects of my life, and again, just teaching. I love to teach, I love to help, I love to interact with individuals, with you guys, the audience, everybody. And so this is a way in which we get to all help each other out, because these videos are going to live on YouTube forever. Well, as long as YouTube allows them to be on there, hopefully forever. But in the meantime, while they're there, we get to all benefit from them. And it's all thanks to people like you in the audience. Again, shout out to Joe Peach. Shout out to the $5. All right, that $5 is going to Lambo, right? Only Lambo knows the real secrets, right?
Bruh.
But anyways, shout out to Jetta. Shout out to Joe Peach today. Shout out to Cutesy. Shout out to, who else we got out there? Talaya. I hope I'm saying your name right. I'm sorry about that. Michelangelo and Teresa and everybody else out there. Shout out to all of you guys. You guys know. Let me see. But anyways, long story short, guys, this is a way in which, we get to all help each other out. And if you want to help the show out and you want to participate a little more, all you got to do is just click on the link I provide in the chat, and it'll prompt you to show you on how you can ask me a question so that I can make a video and we can all benefit and help each other out. If you guys want a one-on-one consultation, just talk to me in person. Again, you can reach out to me and we can set that up. If you want to meet me in person, again, we can also set that up. There's a fee for that. Remember, time is money and all that stuff. So long story short, there's many ways that you can support the show, and there's many ways in which you can get even more bonus content or bonus stuff that you're not going to be able to get on YouTube or on the internet, because, hey, there's certain things I can't talk about, but you can definitely ask me, all right? And I will be more than happy to talk to you about certain things in private, assuming you need any help with all that as well. So with all that being said, guys, you already know the deal, all right? If you want to see more of these videos, all you got to do is just click on all the links, all the things that I have over there. There. You're going to see them. They're going to be popping up soon. Not now, because we're live. You'll see them later. But anyways, long story short, just click on that so you can continue watching, more videos, more answers, more about Mexico, and continue enjoying your evening or morning or whenever the hell you're watching this. But anyways, with all that being said, guys, you already know the deal. If you like this kind of content, don't forget to please like, please subscribe, please share, please hit the bell icon. But more importantly than anything else, please stay awesome. Thanks again for watching. Love you guys. Peace out, and I'll see you guys on the next one, which is on Sunday. Remember, every single Sunday, I drop a brand new video. Every single Thursday, I go live on some capacity. So Thursday is over. Sad face. All right. So now it is, we're going to move on to the next, day, which is Sunday. All right. I got to get out of here. I'm running on fumes. Guys, love you guys. Peace out. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend. A wonderful beginning to your July. And I'll see you guys in a few days. I'll see you guys on Sunday, and I'll see you guys here next week on Thursday. Wow, that guy on screen is definitely a lot hairier than this guy. That's what I used to look like before I got a haircut. All right, guys. Love you. Bye.